It's the 10th. It's time for news about business, social, and security. Links with friends. I'm sorry, links with friends. You gotta say the right words in this dystopian nightmare if you want the algorithm to promote things. And also engage below. And also subscribe on Patreon and Floatplane and whatever else. Or you can be like George Schultz 4022 and super thanks. That's also acceptable. Thank you, George Schultz 4022. I had trouble finding you last episode. I'm sorry. Found you finally.
They do make that bizarrely difficult to locate. And let's talk about one of the bellwethers of the economy, which is because now, of course, that all the small businesses are gone, how many people are buying from Amazon?
Amazon US Prime signups slow despite expanded Prime Day push, and the data shows. There were some insanely good Prime Day deals, but it was just like, I'm going to have to hang on to this because, we might be entering an era of hyperinflation, and then I'm going to need that $40 to buy a banana.
And during that time, a lot of people and a lot of companies were stuffing their cheeks with as much tariff stuff as they could because they were terrified about what was coming. So maybe not buying through Amazon.
Oh, yeah. If you were listening in on some of those fourth quarter earnings calls for various, like grocery companies and things like that, the sentiment was basically, yeah, we stockpiled, for the tariff thing, but our stockpiles are running out, and we've been trying to slowly raise prices, incrementally, but now we're out of old stock and it's going to have to go up a lot.
And Amazon also slowly raising prices, but not just because of the tariffs, because of collusion.
Amazon must face U.S. nationwide class action over third-party sales. This is the thing that I has always, to me, been plainly anti-competitive, but it is, if you're an Amazon seller and you have an Amazon store, like in there, you could say, here is the cost if you buy from Amazon. And Amazon, for the fast shipping and things, want to ship from their warehouses. I mean, there's rules you can follow. If you ship immediately, like they're kind of tolerant to that, but their system is designed so that you like stock stuff, and there's certain costs associated with that. But on your store, you weren't allowed to put, hey, if you order from me, it might take an extra day, but it's also going to be $10 cheaper, because it legitimately would cost the seller $10 less. Amazon doesn't allow that in their stuff, and that was found. It's like, wait a minute, you can't do that.
I understand it. The way I understand it is you also couldn't be like, hey, I'm going to sell my product at Walmart for less.
Yeah.
I think you had to sign something that said, no, you cannot undercut this price if you're going to be an Amazon third-party seller.
Walmart kind of does that.
Walmart definitely does that, but they do it more on a larger business scale, or at least they used to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, neither is great for the consumer. And this is probably not good for the consumer or the job market.
Cloud computing giant Oracle lays off more Seattle workers. Although it was 101 people as opposed to, the Microsoft layoffs, which was like 15,000. And I thought it was weird that this article is like, Oracle's doing all this, but most of the article is dedicated to the ungodly numbers of layoffs the other companies have done. Meanwhile, Oracle laid off 101 people.
And VMware. They have made some interesting decisions. And the biggest one, the most controversial one, is that they are just simply not honoring these contracts that were created before the merger, which should be illegal, right?
The Register's headline and article is amazing. Supermarket giant Tesco sues VMware and VMware's IT provider, third-party IT provider, and warns of a lack of support could disrupt the food supply. So Tesco had a perpetual license, and they're rightly pointing out here, it's like, hey, we had a perpetual license that had certain terms in it, and you're not honoring those terms, and you want us to sign another different contract with much worse terms. We're not really interested in doing that, but you can't really hold us hostage because you have updates for our stuff that our contract, we think, says that you owe us, but you won't give it to us, so we're just going to sue you.
That would be a big win. And they've certainly got the money to fuel that lawsuit.
There are thousands of VMware customers in exactly that boat, and a lot of them are much smaller than Tesco, and they're just like, well, I guess a lawsuit is not going to do any good. But there's a lot of VMware refugees on our forum as well, and it's like, hello and welcome. Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
Also bad is the new form of censorship, which is not government censorship, but kind of activist financial censorship, which in the modern world seems undeniable. What are you going to do about it?
Steam's Visa, Mastercard, and censorship fiasco just keeps deteriorating. If I were Gabe, I would probably spin up a new payment system and just be like, "Hey, this game, you can't pay for this game with Mastercard or Visa. You can only pay for this game with Doge or whatever."
The way they explain it is that the card companies won't tolerate that.
Yeah.
So they'll threaten to pull. I mean, pulling all of Steam, that might be a lot. But
That seems anti-competitive, though. Like, the payment processor should not be in the business of deciding what the payment goes for.
it's hilarious that they have to cover all these these hentai games. I mean, who's that hurting? And these were some really obscure ones. This is like strategy, tactic games that just happen to be the hentai girls.
There's an aspect of this that I hesitate to touch on, and that is there are people apparently with a lot of money that believe that the declining birth rate is because people have this as a kind of outlet, when the reality is the declining birth rate is people like them.
Yeah, it's because children are burdensome in the modern world, and people don't have any money because they're trying to grind out survival for too much of their time. They don't have time to raise children. Imagine that. And if you do have children, you're probably letting the internet raise them because, you know, the demands of life. And one place that they're going is incredibly dangerous.
Roblox began using facial age estimation technology, just like everybody else, on its users. It promises to limit communication between adults and minors unless they know each other in the real world. It's weird how all of this is happening simultaneously, isn't it? Is it enough to make you believe in conspiracy theories? It's like, oh, suddenly we have this facial estimation technology. You just need to tell us who you are.
I know that from a business perspective, they would never tolerate it, but it seems to me it's like, how about just kids on Roblox?
Yeah. When you turn 18, you get ejected from the thing.
Yeah. Happy birthday. We've
Get out.
deleted your Roblox account. And we have this exciting announcement, which I find weird.
Paramount and Activision team up for a Call of Duty movie because Call of Duty is popular as a game and we must exploit that commercially as society demands.
But here's my confusion, right? Call of Duty is a game that seeks to put you immersively into a war movie. This removes the immersion and just goes back to war movie, which we already have so many of. What are we getting from this?
So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the Saving Private Ryan footage, add in a couple new pieces of footage, and then we're just going to call that Call of Duty World War II edition.
But I don't even know if it's going to be World War II because Call of Duty now can be even future wars or whatever. This is just going to be a war movie.
At least Halo had an interesting story.
Yeah, that was a different universe with lore and... Right, but this is just what we already have.
How disappointing is it that the Call of Duty movie happens before a Mass Effect movie?
Yeah, well, it's the more popular game, right? That's all that matters. I was shocked that the Minecraft movie was successful. I've not seen it, but that just blew my mind.
Listen, in our modern world, there's so many, just everything is a Lovecraftian horror. You just want to turn your brain off. And that's a great movie to just turn your brain off and just go with the flow.
Is it?
It's a modern Dumb and Dumber.
And moving on to some hardware news, Nvidia released some of their numbers, and shockingly, they're doing well. But they're doing well, maybe based on some whales. It's the Nvidia police.
More than 50% of Nvidia's data center revenue comes from 3 customers, 21.9 billion in sales recorded from the unnamed companies. And Nvidia wasn't really disclosing who they were, but the article has some guesses, including Elon Musk as one of them.
Well, there's only so many names that you can slot into that. The numbers are so big.
I think this article also would have been better if they had plotted the cost of training the different models. Like, we know enough information about like GPT-2 and GPT-3, GPT-2 and GPT-3. At this point, like GPT-6 or 7 is going to take a nation state's worth of money to train, and that's just seems unsustainable.
Well, it might not be sustainable, but while it is being sustained, Nvidia is going to make all of the money.
Nvidia dominates GPU shipments with 94% share, 27% surge in shipments, likely caused by customers getting ahead of the tariffs. Also, some percentage of those customers were people that bought the what was it, the 5060, and it's like, oh, the 5060 performs the same as the 4090. Those gamers were sorely disappointed.
And keep in mind, that's consumer GPUs. That's not even what they're focused on. They hardly care about that anymore. And the new world of everybody's going to Windows 11, and now some people want to start running AI at home. And there's one thing that you have to have a lot of for all this modern technology.
32 gigs of RAM is on track to become the new majority for gamers. Steam survey indicates shift could occur before the end of the year. Yes, 32 and 64 gigs of memory, like the performance, like the feel of the system when you have 64 gigs of memory versus 16 is very nice. It's very worth it. And so like 32, the cost difference between 16 and 32 is negligible.
I'm always excited about new e-reader technology. Give me something that gets me away from the Kindle nonsense. Unfortunately, this turned out to be something different, and I was disappointed, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Remarkable's new digital notepad is smaller than a paperback, and it's e-ink technology. And e-ink technology, some of it is really good. Like you, I'm kind of vicariously excited because now there is a mass-produced screen that is like the perfect size, and maybe we can get a DIY, homegrown, privacy and rights-respecting e-reader based around that screen.
This one will load EPUBs, but there's no like online bookstore, so it's never going to take off. I guess if you were going to do your own thing, though, this might be good. I don't know if you can load your own software easily on this.
Some of your own, your self-hostable book repository with sync capability to mobile devices, some of that software is getting quite good. Probably should do a video on that, like how to set that up and like what the quality of life is. But it's so good that the companies involved would probably be very angry about that kind of content.
The problem with that is, though, you're usually going through a web browser because your device doesn't interface with it natively.
Yeah.
And then the web browsers on like the Kindle, probably not that great a performance. But it is a solution, I suppose. I just don't like reading on most tablet screens. And here's just a little bit of fun because the business model for a lot of towns, cities, is that you're going to have to be writing traffic citations all the time. Doesn't matter if there's actually a traffic infraction, that must continue. And so here's a great example of that.
A Dodge Charger EV driver got a ticket for a loud exhaust, and the rest of the article is just the driver asking questions like, well, I mean, I was at a stoplight and I wasn't revving the engine, and it really doesn't make all that much noise when I give it gas. I think the police officer might have meant for this to be somebody else and not me. And I've been trying to like pay my ticket or figure out what's going on with it, and the courthouse won't call me back, and they can't find it in their system. So I don't know.
Give it gas.
Yeah.
These things do make noise. They have a system that makes a little bit of noise. I think by law you have to do that. And this particular car does make an engine-like noise, but there's no way it was loud enough to violate any kind of ordinance or whatever. And here's a warning that most of us probably already know on some level, but we don't take seriously.
Using the phone while you poop greatly raises hemorrhoid risk, new study says.
So they're saying
don't do it.
3 to 5 minutes you should max out 3 to 5 minutes. If you're hitting 10, you're at risk.
Yeah, if you really are having that much trouble pooping, try rocking back and forth. It'll loosen up some stuff.
Or maybe change your diet.
Yeah.
Get a little more fiber. And account sharing. Account sharing is not allowed, and more we get companies stepping up to that.
YouTube is pausing premium family plans if you aren't watching from the same address, same IP address. This is something that popped up on our forum a couple of weeks ago, and it has only gotten worse since then. The other thing that's really annoying is that if you travel with YouTube Premium, apparently that also doesn't work. So if like it's like I'm in an airport and I'd like to watch YouTube Premium through my mobile device or my laptop or whatever. It's like, what are you doing? This is in a different place.
And when they say pausing, it's like 10 days.
15.
Oh, 15, wow. And, a lot of the other companies just give you a nasty warning message. But YouTube has gone straight to, we're turning you off for a period of time.
I love how it's just immediately right to the Kafka-esque nightmare. It's like, no, Google, you've made a mistake. And it's like, we've made it so onerous on you to report that we've made a mistake or to try to convince us that we've made a mistake that you're just going to give up.
And apparently there have been a lot of bans coming down on the Meta platforms. I think we actually did a story about that. And people are, just like with Google, it's nearly impossible to go reach out to somebody and say, hey, why did you ban me? You don't know why. You can't get it back. And the reason that they're listing for these bans is very alarming.
The BBC's headline is angry and confused and worried about the police behind Instagram bans. So some people have uploaded their entire lives to Instagram, and then their account just disappears. And they get a warning that's like, oh, we found, child abuse material on your account. We've contacted the police and forwarded it. And these people say, like, hey, here's a copy of all my photos. I don't know what it could be talking about. It's definitely not AI run amok.
And they pointed out a couple of case studies here. I think that might just be a stock image, but there was a woman who ran a business and also had a personal account. And she reached out to the BBC. And obviously, when you reach out to these, they do news stories about this, you usually get somebody at the company to look at it. In her case, they did. They unbanned both the business and her personal account, and then immediately rebanned her personal account. So apparently they didn't turn off the AI. That went right back in and was like, no, I don't want this. Don't put your faith in social media, people. That's the warning. And just having the wrong name. Imagine that you shared a name with a financier from an island. What a rough time that you're going to have.
Anthony Bourdain is having a hard enough time because, like, you get the mugs with Anthony Bourdain, and it's like, who would want a mug with Epstein's face on it? And it's just like, oh my God, no.
But this fella has a different famous name, and he's facing a different problem.
Lawyer named Mark Zuckerberg sues Meta after repeated account shutdowns over claims he's impersonating the billionaire founder. It's offensive.
So here he is, Mark S. Zuckerberg. He throws the S in there to try to deflect. It's hilarious because he has a public law firm with his name on it. And he says he gets maybe 20, 30 calls a day, people begging him to reinstate their accounts. But here's the twist here. The man's a lawyer, and he bought $10,000 worth of Facebook advertising, which they have now banned the account and did not refund. So he has damages.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Again, the Kafka-esque noose gets ever tighter on society.
And we have a new record hit over the Labor Day weekend.
Cloudflare has stopped the world's largest DDoS attack over the Labor Day weekend. It only lasted 31 seconds, but it was 60% larger than the previous record holder. It came mostly from Internet of Things devices and also compromised cloud accounts. So a lot of people came in Monday morning and found that their cloud credits were exhausted.
UDP, which I don't think is a popular DDoS format. It wasn't very successful, but it was very large. And here we have a new kind of, not exactly ransomware, but in a way it is a ransom.
Hackers threaten to feed the data to AI if their demands are not met. It's like, we've stolen your data. We're going to give it to AI for a training model, and you'll never be able to prove it unless you pay us.
But this wasn't just data. This was a way to buy or to commission art. So you would hook up with an artist and get art that was just for you, and no one else was supposed to get this. It's unique. But now it's going to be fed to the AI. So not only will the world get it, but it'll be built into our fake future.
Oh, did we hit that? This led me down the rabbit hole of, I got distracted because like DC and Marvel and stuff are finally suing Midjourney. Because you can just go to Midjourney and be like, make me a Batman-like character. And it's like, here you go.
I've been playing around with Nano Banana, and it's very hit or miss when it enforces stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some stuff it's fine with. Other stuff it's weirdly just will not. It seems like the more controversial a celebrity is, the more it's unwilling to use them. And this one would be catastrophic because, you know, they say that society is, 3 meals away from revolution at any given time?
Frostbite 10 bugs put thousands of refrigerators at major grocery chains at risk. So these are Internet of Things refrigerators, but I kind of get why this is the way that it is. The monitoring and control of the refrigerators is to make sure that the food stays safe. If a freezer malfunctions and is not freezing frozen food, then that food has to be thrown out. It may be contaminated. This tracks and manages all of that, and a malfunction would also allow it to control the freezer, which is the part that I don't understand. It's like, okay, you've got a monitoring system, that's great, but you can also remotely control the freezers. Perhaps that feature should not have been built in.
And in the V2 version, which you can imagine, this is not something you update very often.
Yeah.
You install it in a grocery store, and you're probably not going to change it until you change the freezers themselves. The V2 version was totally unencrypted, so anybody could see what was being transmitted back and forth. The new version, which they insist everybody now should upgrade to, is encrypted, but still has these problems unless it is patched. How often are you patching refrigerators? Yeah. So that would be really bad.
Are you going to take out our uranium enrichment accelerators? Oh, yeah? Well, we're going to take out your frozen food aisle. It's like...
I remember one time I was at the grocery store and the power went out. And they were taking all the meats out in like those giant bins. And some people were like, where are you taking the meat? And they're like, oh, this all has to be thrown away because the power's been out for too long. And I could just see some of those people, like the wheel turning in their head. And it's like, that's going to be in the dumpster, isn't it? And it's perfectly fine. And Gmail has issued a statement, strong and effective. That harkens back to a similar phrase that we heard a lot of. I don't think turned out to be true.
Gmail's protections are strong and effective, claims that major Gmail security warnings are false. So we reported last week that somebody connected to Google was phished or something.
It was the Salesforce hack.
And so like all of the data from Salesforce for like the business customers, which would make phishing easier, was compromised. And so Google is saying, oh, no. That's just like business and business-to-business data that was stolen. Although that's like the fine print in this, not actual account stuff. But I still think that there's a fair bit of risk there for business customers being phished, because you have somebody reach out, it's like, oh, I'm from Google, whatever. I've got all your account info. Let's do some stuff on your account. People will be like, okay, sounds good, because people don't know.
Yeah. I definitely worry about that with my parents, because they would be totally susceptible to that. And the war on privacy is, it's the rules say that one side gets privacy and the other doesn't. That doesn't seem fair, but for now, you can strike back.
AI is unmasking ICE officers. Can Washington do anything about it? No, and they shouldn't. There should be equality before the law.
But if you read the politician quotes in this article, they're going to do something about it. They're working on it furiously.
It's really not good. What is the I forgot the guy that came up with the when you have in groups that are protected by the law but not bound by it, and out groups who are bound by the law but not protected by it, or something like that. It's like you have one group that doesn't have to obey the law, and another group that has to obey the law but are not protected by the law enforcement thing.
Apartheid?
No, well, I mean, it's equality. Like, that's the single most. I mean, just we really need equality before the law.
And another week, another Microsoft mailbox exploit.
Russia's apt28 targets Microsoft Outlook with NotDoor malware. This is basically scripting, and they're using scripting to read and manipulate your Outlook mailbox, but they're using this as a command and control mechanism. So, a lot of corporate firewalls and corporate software detect things that are trying to make direct connections. But if you have a little program that sends emails and listens to your email mailbox for control, that flies under the radar. And that's what this particular malware does.
And this particular malware gets you at your most private moment and tries to exploit you.
Automated sextortion spyware takes webcam pics of victims watching porn. So pay attention to your webcam light coming on, I guess. It's an info stealer malware.
Just put the piece of tape on it.
There's also your daily reminder, almost very nearly daily, that from a computer architecture standpoint, this should not be possible because of application sandboxing. Like, you should be able to run your applications in a sandbox so that, this task that I'm doing is definitely not related to this other task that I'm doing, is definitely not related to this other task that I'm doing. Our computers have the ability to do that. It's just, in Google's case, I blame them for wanting to collect the advertising profile because it would make it harder for advertising data to be collated. But you can DIY that yourself with sandbox operating systems. It's slightly annoying, but it's easily doable.
This takes a screenshot and a photo so that when they release this to embarrass you, not only do you get your reaction, but you also get what you were looking at during the time of the reaction.
Fun times. Well, you know what else is fun times? Nonsense, which is what is coming up on Friday.
And robots.
And robots.